Good morning and welcome to WGN TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. We begin this morning right here in Illinois as residents and politicians across the state marked Veterans Day on Thursday. My first guest is rolling up his sleeves and doing the work of trying to get vets the care they deserve. The state's veteran community has been hit hard over the last 5 years. A Legionnaire's outbreak at the Quincy Veterans Home starting in 2015 left more than a dozen dead. And when COVID-19 struck, an outbreak at the LaSalle home led to 36 deaths and the firing of the state's VA chief. Now lawmakers are looking for ways to help and make permanent changes for the more than 500 veterans living under the state's care. Terry Prince took over as acting director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs back in April. He joins me live this morning to talk more about where the department is headed. You are our first guest in almost 2 years. Nice to see you, Mr. Director.
It's an honor to be here.
It's been a pleasure. So you come on board around April 1st and you step into sort of a mess. We're going to look to the future, but I would like to just quickly ask you, what did you find when you got there? What did you have to initially address?
Well, I found that we needed to make sure that our policies and procedures were understandable by our staff. We had to make sure that they knew what to do in case of an emergency. We use a comparison. We'd never send a Navy ship out to sea without training the staff. We have to be prepared for the unexpected. The good news is that we've got a really incredibly caring group of individuals that work in our homes, and they really want to do the right thing and just need a little bit more direction to do so.
So can you give me a status with regard to COVID testing, vaccination in these homes? Because that had to be one of the first things you really had to tackle.
Absolutely, and we're proud to report that the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, our veterans homes, are leading the state. We're nearly 80% vaccinated, the highest of all state agencies. And our veterans who raised their hand to serve their country at any particular point in history did it again, and they're at 99% vaccinated.
You created this 6-point plan. I think it's important to mention that because whereas we just had Veterans Day, and I know from your staff that you're viewing this as Veterans Month, and that it's not just about one day. So I want to look at the 6-point plan. You want to energize your department, new leadership, new communication, modern technology. So talk a little bit about what you're doing, essentially, I'm sure, to rebuild the trust that had to be reestablished.
Yeah, we really have to do outreach with our veterans. We have to be, instead of saying thank you for your service, we have to demonstrate that thanks through our efforts. And we're kind of in a situation where we've got older technology. We have a lot of you come to us and we'll provide the service. I want our team to be out there meeting people and making the process as easy as possible through online applications and just having that peer-to-peer connection, because I truly believe that those efforts will lead to a resolution. And what's a significant issue for veterans in Illinois and across our country is veteran suicide, nearly 22 a day. And I often wonder how many things could we do in advance of that to ensure that that doesn't come to fruition.
And I'm going to talk more about that. I am going to come to that, but I also want to, during November, you've got what's called Operation Rising Star. So again, that's just symbolic of it's not Veterans Day, it's Veterans Month for us. What happens during Operation Rising Star?
Yeah, we really want our citizens and the residents of our state to send letters of encouragement to veterans in our veterans homes. And then if I may add, one of the things we really like to do is have them communicate with a veteran in general. Reaching out to a veteran in their community. Less than 1% of our population is served in the military. And so part of it, receiving our veterans back into the community, is being a part of their lives and checking in with them. Basically for Illinoisans to say, we got your back.
That must have special need maybe for vets who are older and maybe don't have much family around, that kind of thing. That can lead to depression and other issues.
Absolutely, and mail call is one of the biggest things, whether you've been on a Navy ship or deployed overseas. Getting mail from home, from people who really care about you, care packages, that means the world to these veterans. It means the world to me.
Made me think of Honor Flight, which I did do with my dad, and there was mail call. They do that on Honor Flight, and the vets just tear up. It's really amazing. Another program going on again as we're in this Veterans Month for you, Serving Those Who Served. Talk about that program.
Yeah, it's a fantastic partnership with the Illinois Department of Public Health, where we have volunteer programs. So we have people making quilts for veterans. We have people helping with Habitat for Humanity, ensuring that people have food on the table, just volunteering, finding opportunities to volunteer in the community and give back to those. And when I said earlier, thank you for your service, this is a wonderful way to say thanks for your service by being there in person and volunteering what is really one of the most important assets you can give, one's time.
That emotion, you know, I heard a vet recently say, you know, thank me for my service, but thank my family, thank the people who are impacted when I am serving and going through what I've gone through, and I think that's part of what you're addressing.
Absolutely. Our state is, we have nearly 600,000 veterans living in Illinois and countless family members, millions. And all sorts of, sisters, wives, husbands, etc. And so we want to make sure that we recognize their service because they serve right alongside their veteran.
Well, and that's actually my next question, because you're right. We have about 6,000 veterans, but staff-wise, there's only about 160 service officers. You do a quick math, and each one of them is responsible for about 4,000 vets each. I don't know. I used to teach. I could handle a class of 30. I'm not sure I could handle 4,000. So something you're addressing, how are you addressing it, and how are they functioning now?
So in our organization, we want to make sure that we're hiring and looking at exactly how many it takes for each of the areas across Illinois. But we also have a wonderful partnership with the County Veterans Assistance Commissions, and they also have veteran service officers working in those organizations. Add to that, we have other government service organizations such as the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans. They also provide services. So we have a number of places that people can go. Our organization, I want to hire as many as I can. I look at it from an aspect of a veteran service officer should join a person's team. So the average family has a physician, they have a dentist, they have an accountant. This person is part of that team that is now a part of their lives, and that's where we have more of a transitional versus a transactional world.
So when I say there's 160 service officers, I guess what's in my mind, is this a budget issue? Do you need 260? And I know you're evaluating that, but how does budget and money play into this? Or are 160 it's enough? We just need to modify what they do.
We have to make sure that we have the right numbers in the right areas across the state. And this administration has been so supportive of my efforts and has listened. We've gotten our budget requests every year. Even since I've gotten here. And so I know that Governor Pritzker supports my efforts, and I want to make sure I present them with the right data so they can make an educated decision on where they want to place the next round of veteran service officers.
Right now, as I introduced you, I mentioned there's over 500, it's actually about 560 people in these veterans' homes. There's spaces, though, for 1,000. So I'm curious about a couple things. Number one, why are they only half full? I'm guessing it relates to staffing, but talk about that interplay between those issues.
Yeah, it's a really challenging situation. We've got what's going on is known as the Great Resignation in our country. Employees are choosing to go elsewhere and do things, and it has affected us in Illinois.
So is this a recent phenomenon, the staffing issue?
The staffing issue has really come down from COVID even more so, because you've got staff who are burned out from dealing with that and all the different restrictions. I have an amazing dedicated staff. The veterans are pleased with the people that we have in place, and yeah, we work hard to hire, but we also have to bring in residents responsibly. And what I mean by that is making sure that we have the space to quarantine them. All of our veterans homes now have quarantine units. So if a veteran is positive with COVID, we have to move that veteran to a different floor, and that requires a whole team to support. And so looking at it from a staffing perspective, I've got to admit responsibly, it's my desire to fill all 1,000 plus beds because we offer a fantastic value. As you know, it's $1,490 a month, and that's on your ability to pay. Yeah. Versus the average in Illinois, which can range anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000.
So something I want to address, I promised I would, so I want to be sure we have time for it, and that is the veteran suicide. It's a serious problem. It's a challenge. And the governor has a challenge, which is to put $2.5 million investment in services. Talk about the value. What's needed to stop the suicides?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and really what's needed is a change in the way that we think about it. We have to look at it from an aspect of making sure that a veteran doesn't suffer from homelessness or loneliness or hunger, or more importantly, having a good job. We want to make sure that Illinois is hiring its heroes and hiring them in positions of responsibility, and not taking a veteran's experience and putting it in a box and throwing it up on the shelf that says veteran. Our employers across the state have been wonderful partners working with us for that very thing. As we push forward with new ideas about how we can do suicide prevention, phone numbers are great, hotlines are good, but it's community involvement. And our organization is hiring a professional contractor who comes at it from a completely different way and talks about it from the long game version.
You've got quite the agenda ahead of you. And Acting Director Terry Prince, whose title in the Navy, by the way, was Force Master Chief. What a great title. You could have had a uniform today. Good to see you. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being our first guest back.
I appreciate
you.
Thank you, sir.
Coming up next on WGN TV Political Report, pushing for political representation. The city's growing Asian American population asked City Council to give them just one of the city's 50 wards in the upcoming remap. And later, tomorrow, the president plans to put pen to paper and make the infrastructure bill a reality in Illinois. Lawmakers are already lobbying for their share of the cash. Stick with us.